Knowing the right pairing for each march in Call of Dragons in the open field is extremely important to gain an advantage over your enemies. So stick around in this video because I'll be going through the best pairings for each unit type in the open field for both pay to win and free to play. What is up guys, MEOWER here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So, the open field, one of the most important aspects in Call of Dragon, which is basically includes every single thing from PvP to PvP to PvP. So knowing which marchers to use correctly for each troop type is extremely important, whether if you are free to play or pay to win, high spender, low spender, it doesn't matter. The best marches are always gonna outperform anything else. That being said, here is how this video will be structured. We'll be going over the best marches for free to play for archers, infantry, mages, and cavalry. And then we're going to go through the best marches for pay to win, also archers, infantry, mages, and cavalry. That being said, let's get started. Starting off with free to play, what does a free to play mean? It means that you are a free to play player, meaning you mainly rely on gold chest commanders or gold key commanders. So for this list, we're going to exclude Kenara, Lilia, and Hosk, and Madeline, because Kenara and Madeline are both wheel exclusive commanders, while Lilia and Hosk are both VIP paid commanders. So what we're going to use for this list is that we're going to use the regular obtainable gold chest commanders. That being said, I will show you the best pairings for archers. Right now, the best free-to-play archer march would be Nico Guanwen. Guanwen is extremely easy to awaken, and Nico functions perfectly at 5-1-1-1-1, making it the best optional march for archers. Next up, we have infantry, both Garwood and Nika, both being legendaries and both obtainable from the gold chests. However, Garwood is not that good, so what we're going to use for the second infantry march, we're going to use Nika Bakar, either with Bakar Primary or Nika Primary. Both is perfect. Nika functions perfectly at 5-1-1-1, and when as you get more of her tokens over here, you'll be able to skill up her third and fourth marches even more. She does not need to be awakened, but if you do manage to awaken her as free play, more power to you. So for infantry, of course, it's going to be Nika Bakar. And you can also use Garwood Eliana for purely tanking. They are both the best optional tank you have as a free to play. This march does not do any damage, but it is a perfect frontline march for you and your allies, with, of course, Garwood primary and Eliana secondary. That is it for infantry. Next up, we have mages. So you can access Velen, you can access Waldir, and you can access Alwyn. The best march for you would be Alwyn Waldir, or Waldir Alwyn, or Alwyn Velen. All three of these work wonderfully, and if you want to run two marches, I would recommend running, for example, Waldir Velen with Waldir Primary for access to the skill tree in order to make Velen's skills hit even harder because of both his hero skill damage boost and, of course, the talent of Boiling Blood. You can also run the secondary Mage March I would run, is that it would include Alwyn and maybe even Atheus, since Atheus is, of course, a magic commander, even though he is not the best, but it is still a very functional march that does decent amount of damage and has a lot of CC from Alwyn from the slows. Next up, we have the Cavalry. Cavalry, Bakshi Emrys, or Emrys Bakshi, both fantastic. Alistar is very subpar, and now that Bakshi is obtainable from the gold keys, I would not recommend even looking at Alistar anymore. He's not that good, and Bakshi just fills the better niche than than Alistar. You can Bakshi makes the cavalry tankier, and he still does a lot of damage. With coupled with Emrys, both are fantastic and both work perfectly at 5-1-1-1, which is what you want any legendary commander before you progress them further. These are the pairings for free to play. So just to recap: archers, Nico, Guanwin, the best archer march hands down for free to play. Infantry, Nika Bakar, Garwood Eliana. Mages, Voldir Velen, Alwyn Atheist, and then finally cavalry, Bakshi Emrys. And if you do not have access to either Bakshi or Emrys, you can still fit in Alistar, but as soon as you get any of those two, you should immediately throw away Alistar and then start working on the Bakshi Emrys March. Next up, we will start discussing the pay to win marches. Pay to win it vastly increases the pool and your options of pairings and marches because you get to access Madeline, Hosk, Lilia, Kenara, four of the best commanders in the game, period, hands down. And Kenara is slowly becoming my favorite commander as well in the game. As you can see, I'm almost awakening her. I should have her up and running by next week, but that is a topic for a different video. Starting off, we'll follow the same format for archers, infantry, mages, and cavalry. Starting off with archers, Nico Canara, best archer march hands down. Nico just provides way too much value as a primary due to the skill, due to the access to the both precision tree and the marksman tree, plus coupled with his defense reduction. And of course, when you do manage to awaken him, he becomes a counterattack machine when paired with Canara. This is only if you want to run a singular archer march, then the best march period would be Nico Canara. If you do, however, wish to run more than one archer march, then I vastly recommend Nico Guanwin, and of course Kenara Hosk, because one, Nico Guanwin, no, nothing else to say. A lot of DPS, a lot of damage overall, and a very versatile March. While Kenara Husk is extremely strong March, which heavily boosts Kenara's basic attack boost, and of course boosts her normal attack damage bonus, coupled with Husk's insanely high stats that he provides from the 40 attack damage, and his main skill that provides a lot of HP and a damage belt bonus coupled with the extra attack, making them both wonderful synergies with each other. Next up, infantry. Madeline Nika, the best infantry march in the game, period. Nothing else comes close. Madeline Nika, I don't recommend any other infantry marches than Madeline Nika because not only can it take damage, it can dish out damage, and it can take a heavy beating as well. Because Madeline, one of the best commanders in Call of Dragons, in any single situation, open field rallies, defending, anything at all, she is an amazing and she's extremely versatile, and I highly recommend getting her. Even as a free to play, she's definitely worth saving the gems and spinning the wheel for her, just for her. She will not. She is never a bad investment, and she can carry you a long way through Call of Dragons. Nothing else to say about infantry marches. I don't recommend running more than one infantry march as long as you have Madeline Nika. And then finally, we're going to go over the mage marches. Now, mage marches, you can run up to 3 mage marches, but the best mage march right now would be Lilia Velen. Lilia just provides way too much damage when coupled with Velen, a lot of AoE, a lot of control, and extremely high damage over time in the open field with a lot of with slows, more damage, and of course, don't forget that it does more damage. If you want to run more than one mage march as well, you have the option to run at least 3 mage marches if you are the League of Order. Then, of course, you'll be running Atheist Thea for the flying units. You'll be running Lilia Alwyn, and you'll be running Waldir Velian. This is assuming everyone is awakened because Waldir applies the freeze. The freeze thing that the freeze debuff that Velen can blow up to deal extra damage and then have him reapplied again. So Velen Waldir, Lilia Atheus, and of Alwyn, and of course Atheus Thea. These will be your 3 main marches. However, if you want to run a single march of each type, then we'll go over here as follows for free to play and pay to win. Let me just delete this. And let me just delete this. Let me delete this. So the main march will be Nico Guanwin. This is free to play, of course. For infantry, Nika Bakar or Garwood Eliana. For cavalry, Bakshi Emrys. For Emrys Alistar, I don't recommend Alistar with Bakshi at all. It is extremely counterproductive, and you'll be missing out a lot if you don't have Emrys. Don't run the cavalry, because Emrys makes cavalry damage really shine. And I don't recommend running cavalry at all if you don't have these two paired up at least 5-1-1-1. And of course, finally, the mage marches will be Waldir Velen or a Waldir Alwyn. Both super good, super solid marches, and both fit their roles really well. And of course, you can run Atheist in there with anyone else as the mage marches. Next up for pay to win, Nico Kenara, hands down best archer march in the game. Infantry, Madeline Nika, mages, Lilia Velin, and finally cavalry, Bakshi Emrys. Oops, Bakshi Emrys. That is it for the best pairings for every single troop type, along with what caliber of player you are, free to play or pay to win. These are by far the current meta for each of the troop types. Of course, there are other commanders are viable, but these just outshine everything else by a large margin. If you like videos like this, please drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, and join our Discord. The link is in the description of this video, and I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.